Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Wannabes podcast. I'm Morgan, that's Luke, and there's Dreaded, and we're your hosts for the evening. You know what? It is an exciting season because we are, of course, reviewing spooky movies. It is our spooky season movie reviews, and with that, tonight we will be getting into a throwback horror film from 2006, which is Hatchet. But before we get into that, we're going to be discussing a quick little tidbit of movie industry news. So the first bit I want to, bring up for everybody is last week we reviewed Joker Folie à Deux, and you heard our thoughts.
Yep.
The not as good thoughts of the first one, So what I do want to say and announce to everybody is, firstly, it has made a record. So Joker Folie à Deux earned $7 million domestically this last weekend, which is actually an 81% drop from its debut weekend, which already sucked, and was the worst second weekend decline for a comic book movie ever. That was about to go in a very different direction.
80%, that's the highest drop ever?
81.
81.
Yeah, 81 is the highest ever drop for a comic book movie ever.
That's a little surprising, right?
Yeah, that's
I
wild.
saw Madam Web. That surprises me.
I saw Morbius. That surprises me.
That one, no, shut up.
I was trying to say comic book, but that is hilarious that you come into that, Michael.
Compared to the last two movies that we just mentioned, Morbius is like an Oscar winner.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a lie. That's a lie. That's a lie. That is a lie. I'm taking that back. I'm taking that back. I will watch Joker Folie à Deux before I watch Morbius, and definitely before I'm going to watch Madam Web, for sure. Morbius, I would say, is a close
I was going to say,
second.
haven't you seen Morbius already more than once?
No, I think I've only seen it once.
Oh, really? Okay. I don't know why
I also only saw it once, and I only saw it once, and that was enough.
Yeah, no, well, it comes up on Netflix a lot, and like I'm always tempted, but same with Madam Web. I'm like, never mind. I'm not stoned enough for this.
Yeah. So I do have a tiny little thing about Joker 2 as well that adds into this. So it is official. Literally very shortly after like the news release of the 81 drop at its box office for its second weekend in the theaters, they announced that they are actually going to have Joker Folie à Deux available digitally as of October 2nd. It is its second weekend, guys, and it's already announcing by the end of the month that it released in that it is going to digital. That's how bad it's doing.
This is where it's gonna make most of its money if it doesn't
100%.
hit the mark, right? I mean, and it's a good strategy. It's a good strategy. Is it worth the price of a movie ticket? No. Is it worth the price to stream it? Maybe.
I mean, a lot of people consider it's like, oh, I'll just wait for this to come out on streaming because it's considered more free and they're getting more bang for their buck on streaming services because they get to watch more shit. So
I mean, honestly, you should just wait until it's like on Netflix or something, and that's really when you should watch it. Just being honest, but I understand the strategy, and I think it makes more sense. And I don't mind this.
I don't
keep
either.
It in the theaters. Don't keep it in the theaters if it's just going to be there and do nothing. Get it out.
Especially if it's bombing. I'd rather because like theaters do like a lot of like throwback spotlights now. I'd rather go and see like a for example, I don't think I ever got to, or if I did, I was too young to see Phantom Menace in theater. And quite a few months ago, MGR had Phantom Menace back, and it was really nice. I was able to go see it. I've even been able to go see what was it? A New Hope.
I saw Phantom Menace in the theaters.
New Hope, I obviously was not even alive yet when New Hope was it was released, and I got to see that in theater, and it was really cool to be able to see that. So if a movie's failing, get it the fuck out of here and give me something else, even if it's a throwback.
No, exactly. Give me something else.
Free up the theaters.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Stop hogging all the fucking screens.
Right. I did not mean to say Star Wars films as examples for my segue. I actually didn't, but it works. So a little
I'm looking
bit
you
of
right in your eyeballs right now. Don't fucking lie to me.
Actually, I'm not. Those happen to be the two throwback movies I've seen at MJR. Anyway, some Star Wars news for us big Star Wars fans. I'm sorry, Luke. I've disappointed him, but I also don't mind that I have.
It's okay. Go ahead.
So Ewan McGregor has actually came out and said that Disney is exploring ideas for an Obi-Wan Kenobi season 2, which Ewan McGregor's already came out and said that he would love to have the option to reprise his role as Obi-Wan Kenobi once again. I am obviously down for this. I think Obi-Wan Kenobi, well, specifically Kenobi, has been one of the better series they have released recently on Star Wars. You can fuck off. I am biased. Obi-Wan Kenobi will always be my heartthrob since I was a child.
That's fine, but Darth Vader getting stopped by just a little bit of fire? Really? Do we forget how
that's PTSD? Literally, the
fire was actually in this show.
Luke, it is PTSD. He doesn't want to deal with the fire because half his body got burned off.
Don't justify it. Don't even
That's literally what I said in our review when we reviewed it.
I probably said the same thing to you then. Don't even try and fucking justify that terrible. He is the strongest being in the universe. He's stunned by a little bit of fire. Not even a lot. Like if it were been like a lot. I mean, like an explosion. Fine.
Okay, but it's the same fucking thing with the goddamn hound in Game of Thrones.
Do I like that too? Probably not. Can't remember. But all I'm saying is this example is blatant and it's dumb. But I do like the idea of a season 2 because season 1 was not what it should have been. So yeah, they deserve a redo. Ewan McGregor deserves a redo. Hayden Christensen deserves a redo. Let's get it right. Do it again. That's fine. I want to like the show. I can't help it they do dumb shit.
What else are they gonna do? Actually, I feel like Obi-Wan would have been just a one and done thing. What more can they explore?
I mean, there's a without rewriting the fucking canon like they've been doing. I'm sure there's a lot of stories that they can tell. They're constantly. It's like I love it. I get to do this. It's like Dragon Ball. They keep putting this new stuff in this little pocket of time. You know, I guess you can just do that as long as it's good. Some of it's good. Some of it is is Kenobi season 1.
So this is my theory. They're obviously still, planning ideas and seeing what they want to do for a season 2. But from my perspective, we have it ending. Like season 1 ends with Kenobi being reached out by the Force Ghost of Qui-Gon Jinn to teach him basically how to become a Force Ghost when he dies as well, and to continue living on through the Force after he passes on. And this is a thing that Yoda did for Qui-Gon. This is canon. Like there is lore about all of this. I could see there being more of a really interesting, more of a introspective, training thing. We maybe would finally get what everybody's been fucking wanting, part of Obi-Wan's backstory and flashbacks. I think there could be some really interesting introspective stuff with the Force and him growing into the person that we end up seeing for Luke. And that's what I would love to see.
I think there's also a lot of potential for him to get into a shit ton of conflicts because based on all the other shit, like I said, that take place in that pocket of time, there's a fuck ton of shit going down.
He's also on Tatooine. There's a lot of issues going on Tatooine. He does end up having some relations with some Jawas, eventually also with some the Tusken Raiders. I'm sure we'll see probably some more stuff with Luke's Uncle Ben, and Obi-Wan, because there has been some tension there that we have seen in the first season. So I think there is plenty of avenues they can go for season 2.
They can always do a quasi Seven Samurai with him too, Anthony. There's always the potential that there's something and we need a hero, and here's the reluctant, disgruntled old Jedi.
Even though he's on Tatooine looking over Luke, I don't think he'll also necessarily look past wrongs that are happening that he can help. Obi-Wan isn't that kind of guy. If he's able to help, he's going to help. And so there could be interesting environmental problems and things on Tatooine itself, because Tatooine is not a great place.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Okay.
But I can talk about this forever. And before I go down a hole, Dreaded, please bring up a little bit of news that you have for us.
All right. But before I get into the news, I told you guys, there's one piece of news that I'm going to bring up very quickly. We're not to talk about. Amber Midthunder has been cast in Monarch Legacy of Monsters Season 2. That's all. And then I'm happy. Anyway, nice. Real news. So, sorry, I just had to read right there. I had to remember which order it was, actually. So, Venom, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, so the director of Venom: The Last Dance, Kelly Marcel, says that Null's story is just the beginning. The King in Black is way too powerful for a one and done storyline, actually. And looks like I forgot some of the other articles I found. Oh, Luke, Father, it's gonna be all right.
Get it
But it
back.
seems
You
like
need that.
whatever is going on with Null in this movie, looks like they'll continue it in some further movies, perhaps, maybe even into the MCU. Who knows?
I'm so happy that didn't break. I fucking knew it. I knew it. God, I knew it. Anyway,
What did you call? Wait, what?
that I was gonna get a very watered down bullshit version of Null, and this just lets me know that that's probably exactly what we're doing. Do you understand? Like, first of all, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't this Tom Hardy's last go around as Venom? Isn't he done?
Yes, he said he was. Yes.
Okay, so unless they give him the Robert Downey Jr. treatment and just fucking make him not be able to say no, I'm very curious where we're gonna go with this. Maybe they introduce Eddie Brock's son in this. Cool, I guess, but just the fact of what Null is in the comics. I think I said it the last time we talked about this. He literally shows up and takes over everybody that has had a symbiote, which at that point in the comics is fucking everybody. He controls everyone. He runs the fucking world for a whole event. It's one of the coolest things I've ever read in my entire history of reading comics. It's fantastic. It's so well written. The action scenes are cool. Every side story connects back into the main story. It's awesome. Where are they going to get all these characters? Like, what? How are you going to? I don't want to say accurately, but faithfully portray that on the big screen. You're already a step behind because you don't have access to the characters that actually take place in this. You have Venom, you have Null. That's pretty much it. You know, it's so kind of like with Civil War. You're gonna give me this, but you gotta bring it into about here. I'm not a fan of that. To me, it does a disservice to the story. I guess I can wait and see what the bigger plans are, but that it's just like I'm blue balled now because who the fuck is the villain in this? Because I already know Null is in it. I'm already way more interested in him. So you've already cut the legs off of the villain of this movie. I already know Venom's gonna win. Whatever, move on. And great, I'll get somebody else. I won't even get Eddie Brock and Venom taking on Null. I'm gonna get somebody else. Cool.
So a couple things I want to say. Number one is actually I recently watched YouTube videos that explained the King in Black storyline event, which was actually pretty damn good. Yeah. So yeah, I am aware of what goes on with Null. Two,
is the best part.
I will say that well, it is obvious that the multiverse is a thing. Now, I'm not exactly a fan of having the multiverse be our answer, but I guess it's an opportunity to do something, I guess, maybe unique with any time the symbiote ever appeared on screen. And also, if I recall in that storyline, there's something about, a character's codex or something like from anyone who's ever been, whoever had a symbiote, even if you're dead. So I wonder if we could get freaking Carlton Drake and Cletus Cassidy somehow returning, which when I really think about it, in the trailer when we first learned Null was in this movie, if you like, there's a moment where you see like kind of like these statues of previous symbiotes, and one of them is Carnage, actually.
Well, that's how that. I'm pretty sure that's what comes first. Is like absolute Carnage, I think, is the thing, and it's Carnage gets resurrected, Cassidy gets resurrected, and then he lets everybody know, yeah, you beat me, but like, motherfucker behind me, have a good time. I mean, I love the story. I'm intrigued. It's going to be cool to see the characters on screen, but like, I just know it's damn sure not going to be what I want. And now I'm even more hesitant that it'll even be close to being good because it's already this version of Venom, this weird universe. And I don't even know how the multiverse would work because we saw it with fucking Morbius when they brought in the Vulture. Like, it just doesn't, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. I don't trust them at all. At all. I get a cool introduction. Carnage's introduction was cool in that movie. And then the rest of it was just, pretty watered down. I don't want that for this character.
Well, at least he's not at least one and done. So maybe they might still pick up the pace and do something more with him down the line. Who knows? I guess the best we can say is we just gotta wait for the movie to come out and see where does this go.
I'm intrigued, but not in a good way.
I would like to know who's playing him. That's my biggest question. Who's actually playing Null?
I'll tell you what, when I saw the Norman Reedus thing, that's who I want it to be, but it's not looking like that's who it's going to be. Like, that would be cool.
If it's Andy Serkis, I'm okay with that too.
That would be cool too. That'd be all right.
But, I mean, I will give him credit for, okay, he's not going to be one and done, so I guess that's cool.
Yeah, and that's where the intriguing part is coming in for me. But I mean, these guys have. I'm glad that it's successful, but it's not Venom. It's not. I accept it for what it is, but it's just not, and it's got to do with a lot of things. Most of it doing with the whole deal that they made with the MCU to put Spider-Man in it. Whatever, I get it, but you've already cut the legs off your story from like Jump Street, and I'm glad that it's successful. I have no idea how, but I do not have any trust in the people that are running the show over there at Sony for this.
Well then. Anyway, that's all the Knoll stuff I have here.
And Topher.
Well,
imagine Topher Ray shows up again.
I'm glad you watched the two not enough time to read it, or whatever the fuck they're called.
Yeah, it's I forgot exactly the channel. I think it's kind of like Historian I was watching, which is like a very detailed like recap of like what goes on in comics.
Yeah, good. Glad you liked it. It's sick. Nice. It's so cool.
Yeah, Null's origin is very cool, and then the event itself is like, wow.
Yeah, dude. Gets wild.
Anyway, all right.
Dragon?
Well, for
dragons.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, so I do have a little bit of theater news for you all, and now that I've talked about the Joker going to digital come the 29th of October, I wonder if this is maybe the reason why we even have this news bit. So the psychological horror film Longlegs, that it was directed by Osgood Perkins and starring Micah Monroe and Nicolas Cage, is actually headed back to theaters on October 23rd to celebrate Halloween.
Okay.
Wow.
I don't understand why.
I don't get why it's returning.
If I remember correctly, we all like the movie, but for me personally, it's a little overhyped.
Agreed.
Just a little.
100%.
A little.
It is the first movie in a very long time to actually frighten me, and I would like to watch it again, but not in theaters. Also, Micah, you had one job. How could you fucked up big time? You're just gonna make that all over again. Funny enough, Godzilla -1 is heading back into theaters, I think, in November.
Great, I'll watch that again.
Yeah, I'm down.
I'll go see that again in theaters.
I will never not watch that movie. Fuck that. I mean, cool. It's a good movie. If you haven't seen it, go check it out.
I do wonder though if it's to help, because it has had so much hype, if it is to help theaters make some of their money that they're losing from Joker.
I
wonder. With the timing.
You know what? I'll give it to you. Maybe.
It may not be, but I can't help but wonder.
Right? Why not? It's a good movie. It's still kind of fresh in your mind. It is very good. Sure.
It's still being talked about. So.
Yeah, sure. And honestly, if you haven't seen it, go check it out.
All right. Next, final piece of news then.
Final piece of news. Go for it.
All right, guys. So good news. Actually, not good news. Why? I don't give a fuck. The Conjuring Last Rites. Actually, the official title is Conjuring Last Rites. Has wrapped filming and is scheduled to be released September 5th, 2025.
Are Via Farmiga and Patrick Wilson back?
Yes, they are.
That's all that matters. Cool. I'm in. Let's go.
I'm right there with
those two are I'm gonna be honest. For a franchise like this, they are way too good of actors to be in this. But like, they legitimize every single movie. You can say whatever you want about them, but their performances and what they bring to the table is like the whole driving force behind this. The actual Warrens were probably terrible people.
They're trash people.
These two are amazing, and I love seeing them on screen in these roles doing this stuff. It's awesome, and they are good movies, particularly 1 and 2. You can say whatever you want about 3, but like, they are scary. They use very good use of the jump scare. James Wan probably isn't directing, so I'm still gonna have my hesitation. But like, god damn it, why not?
Oh no, you should definitely have your hesitations, because the director is Michael Chaves, who did Curse of La Llorona, Devil Made Me Do It, and The Nun 2.
So I don't have any problems with The Curse of La Llorona. I mean, it's very tropey, that movie. Like, I already know what's coming because it's like a knockoff Conjuring anyway.
That's fair.
But it's filmed well. You know what I mean? If they're deciding, hey, we're going to keep doing these, but most of the budget is going to go to Patrick and Vera, all right, fine, whatever.
Part for me, the fact that I'm not even gonna review La Llorona right now.
I would not have wanted 4 films. 2 was plenty. The
Agreed.
first 2 are damn near perfect.
3
after that,
The 3 was trash. I hated 3. See, for me, it's just like Insidious and Conjuring came out in similar times as one another, and I think they were really.
James Wan was rolling.
Yeah, I think they were really good reboots to the paranormal like horror franchising. Now, did they lose some areas in some of their sequels? Absolutely. However,
no, 2 is damn near as good as the first
well,
one.
not sequels, but just in general, like any like following film from the first. Yes, not all of them hit. Not all of the franchise has hit. However, I'm happy to hear this. I'm gonna watch it. I do really like the Conjuring films. You know, for me, paranormal horror is some of my favorite horror right there with psychological horror. So I'm completely there for it just off of that. My only hesitation, and this is not anything against the actors or the creators, is just fuck the Warrens. I wish that we got a paranormal film that followed better people in the paranormal investigating world. You know, they happen sadly to be, the Warrens happen to be really big names in the actual paranormal world. I'm someone who listens and watches.
I mean, they're arguably the biggest.
Yes,
that was before these movies came out.
No, 100%. But it's just disappointing that, you know, these movies are making so much money off of their namesake, because that was a big marketing point, is the fact, oh, this is following stuff that the Warrens have done, or like stuff like that, because they really actually were terrible people who really like would pull stories that weren't there, would lie, who wouldn't actually help people, even though they said they were. They made things worse, depending on your beliefs, obviously, of that the paranormal. But yeah, I love the Conjurings. Hate the Warrens, the real Warrens. Vera and Patrick do a fantastic job in their roles, so I'm very happy that they're still reprising these roles. But yeah, I'm fine with this, and I'll be seeing it in 2025.
It really does all hinge for me on them. If they're not in it, I really don't fucking care, to be completely honest. But if they're gonna be
it doesn't mean it's gonna be a good film.
No,
like, I will give it, if it's trash, I will let it, you know, it's trash.
But much like we said about Joker, is like the performances are really good though.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And I can take that away from like the third one. I don't really like the movie, but they're good in it for the time that they're in it. You know.
First off, I do want to say that a third Conjuring wasn't exactly a horrible idea, seeing that it is still based off a very well-known case that the Warrens, I suppose, handled, actually, which I'm not mad about. It's more of like everything else they added to it, I think, which made it worse and very boring in my opinion, which I didn't even finish that movie.
We're not even gonna get into the bullshit that the Warrens did during that case in real life. It's fine.
Also, I mean, I've been on record to say here that I love the Insidious movies a lot more than I like these Conjuring movies, actually.
That's a tough one. That is a tough one.
I will say, like,
we should have that debate one day.
It depends, but that'd be a really good debate, because it varies for me. It varies for sure.
Well, now they'll both have the same amount of movies, right? Isn't there both 4 in each, or 5? No, there's 5 in Insidious.
Yes.
1, 2, 3, Last Key, Red Door. Yeah, 5.
So 5 to 4, but I feel like that's enough. We could definitely have that argument for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Because Insidious has some stinkers. I'm just saying. I love that franchise too, but like number 2 is fucking terrible.
Yeah, it was good.
Oh, I will. I'm not gonna do it now, but yeah.
For a debate another day.
Not a fan of 2, but yeah, the same shit. It's cool. I like that this is for the last 12-ish years, 14, almost 15 years. The Conjuring has been one of the better horror franchises in all of horror. So I mean, give it its fucking flowers, give it its respect. If we start to get shitty sequels now, I mean, what else is new?
Yeah, right. For sure.
I will stand by that. I think The Conjuring 2 was the only good movie in that entire thing. Okay, moving on.
Oh, you son of a bitch. Moving on.
That's you, you know. You're my dad.
All right, everybody. So what everybody's been waiting for is our movie review of tonight.
I love you.
Which we are going to be getting into our review for the film Hatchet, which is a good old throwback, kind of slasher horror film.
Kinda.
It is.
Kinda.
Okay, it is. It's just it's weird to me. This movie's weird to me. But Anyway, the runtime for this is 83 minutes, so it was actually a pretty shorter film, all things considered. But before I let Dreaded lead us through this review, I want to start with some budget and box office numbers. So the budget for this was $1.5 million. And if we get into the information on its release, this had an interesting release. We know a lot of films will debut at film festivals before they get their theatrical release. But Hatchet was selected for the 2006 London Fright Fest Film Festival at the Odeon West End on August 25th, 2006. It was introduced on stage by Adam Green, who hosted a Q&A session afterwards. The film was also selected for the Psyches International Film Festival in Spain and Fantastic Fest in Austin, Texas that same year. The film sold out both nights, resulting in extra folding chairs having to be set up in the theater and audience members sitting in the aisles. The film won the Audience Award for Best Picture, as well as jury prizes for Best Actor, specifically for Kane Hodder, and Best Special Effects. It was also selected for Germany's Fantasy Film Festival in 2006. As part of the festival, the film toured Munich, Stuttgart, Nuremberg, Frankfurt, Cologne, Bochum, Hamburg, and Berlin. And then, after all of their crazy film fest runs, Hatchet received a limited theatrical release in the United States starting from September 7th, 2007 by Anchor Bay Entertainment. The film received $208,550 in the domestic box office. So yeah, that's its whole release run.
Yeah.
So a thing to keep in mind about this, and Anthony, I don't know if you saw this when this came out in 2007, but I did. And I remember the marketing for it very well. And the trailer even says it's not a Japanese horror movie. It's not a remake. And I have a list of a lot of horror movies that came out from 2000 to 2006. There's a lot of J horror in here, and there's a lot of fucking remakes. So At the time, as a horror fan, no bueno. We definitely wanted something that felt different. And what we got was this very much throwback to the 80s. And not even Friday 13th #1 or Nightmare on Elm Street #1, like a fucking Nightmare on Elm Street, the fucking Dream Child type shit, very, very cheesy, very over the top, a lot of boobies,
a lot of
fun,
a lot of fucking movies, and a lot of fun. And I enjoyed watching this with you guys because we tried to do a little watch party thing, and it didn't work out how we wanted to, but we did watch it together. And it was cool to see your guys' reactions, particularly yours, Morgan, because it's your first time watching this. And just, have fun, because that's pretty much it. This isn't something to be taken seriously. It's just something to have fun. And it's really cool, or I shouldn't say cool, but it's interesting when you just listen off the awards that it won, like Best Actor, Best Movie. Even in 2007 standards, I don't think it holds up like that. Watching it now, I'm like, yeah, I think I even said this movie would have gotten canceled. There's
100%.
There's no way they're making this now. But it was cool. It was a lot of fun. Best special effects, of course, makes all the sense in the world. There's some violent shit that goes on in here, and the effects even now. And Anthony, you and I watched a grainy fucking YouTube version. They still looked pretty good. Yeah. In fact, I think the shitty quality on YouTube helped it. I'll be honest. But it's fun. That's all it is. Just pop it in and have a good time. I mean, but we're gonna be a little more judgmental on it. I think.
It's funny. You can almost qualify it because of how it is meant to be. Just sit down, have a fun time. You're meant to laugh at some of the stupid shit. You have this, not an actual director or anything, trying to direct a soft porno with some girls, and they're just throwing their titties out and stuff like that. This is to me a comedy slasher. That's why I
told you that.
And that's why when I was saying earlier, it isn't fully a slasher horror to me. It's more like a comedy slasher. I don't really find there to be horror in this.
That's through the lens of 2024, and I didn't say it. I didn't say it yesterday when we were watching it, but there were a lot of Evil Dead 2 or Army of Darkness vibes in there. There are a lot more jokes and just skits that I remember, honestly. But when it came out, obviously with the awards that it won, we took it so fucking seriously. But that's how starved we were not to get another remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, not to get the third Grudge sequel. Like we wanted something that felt different because they weren't making movies like this at that time. It was either a remake or we taking something from Japan. That's pretty much it. Or a sequel with like Saw 800. You know what I mean? So it just, again, just goes to show at the time how starved we were just to get just a brass tacks, hardcore, like metal horror movie, because that's what this is. Like, if you could just stamp metal on this thing, and it's pretty much what it is. But now in 2024, it is way funnier than it should be, because I'm pretty sure that's not what they meant, but it's pretty fucking funny. And kudos to Adam Green. It's unfortunate that his career has pretty much fallen off since then, because he definitely hit a home run with this. Maybe we'll get to the sequels later. I don't know, but this is this is definitely a home run. And man, it just couldn't really. My man could not really capture the magic after that, and that's pretty sad.
Well, okay. So, Luke, to answer your question much earlier, I don't remember when I first watched this. Actually, my dad, knowing that I was such a horror junkie in my youth, and I still kind of am, introduced me to this film. I don't know how he figured it out. All I know is I saw this movie before the sequel was like announced and had a trailer and stuff like that. So I'm not sure when the timeline of when I saw this movie is actually. Fun fact about how this movie kind of came to be as well. Adam Green says he got the idea for the antagonist Victor Crowley. His backstory when he attended a camp back in the 80s, actually, at the age of 8, where during his first day of camp, the counselors had warned the kids that a man named Hatchet would come and get them if they got too close to a specific cabin. And since Green had began getting the horror movies around that time,
the counselors were fucking in.
Excuse me.
Exactly. He brought it upon himself to make a backstory to Hatchet, which is and he told the rest of the kids that same night, which is the backstory for Victor Crowley we see in this film. And if you watch Dead Meat's kill count for this film, Adam Green, there's a moment where it's edited in that says Adam Green like was gonna get kicked out of camp for scaring the kids with that story, actually. So he had this movie. He had this idea for a very, very long time, actually.
Well, I mean, there's no denying that this movie is heavily influenced by Friday the 13th. I mean, Victor Crowley is just a different kind of deformed Jason Voorhees.
Dude, he's even played by Kane Hodder.
And he's even played by Kane Hodder. Thank you. And that's so funny that Kane Hodder won an award for best acting when like he really doesn't do anything. He doesn't
act.
He really doesn't. No, no disrespect. No disrespect to Kane Hodder.
No, not at all.
I fucking love Kane Hodder, and he can act. But his like human role as Mr. Crowley, he doesn't do anything. Again, we were so starved, and Kane Hodder wanted to not be in makeup so bad. We were like, yes, give him the awards.
But Kane Hodder was still fucking in makeup.
Yeah, well, that was probably in the contract. He's like, look, I'm just not going to do another Jason. Like, you have to do something for me. And they're like, all right, play the dad. Actually, I think that's damn near verbatim what happened.
Probably.
Honestly.
Probably. I could see it.
Because I know for a fact that I used to know that information for sure. I'm a little fuzzy now. I smoke a lot of weed now, but you know.
Now, I will definitely say, and around this time, I can understand why people were so starved for a film like this, considering again, like you said, all the remakes and all the Japanese remake horror films and stuff like that.
Even
if good movies came out of that timeline, because this was 2006 actually. Because in my opinion, Texas Chainsaw 2003 was actually pretty good, and some of the J horror remakes were also pretty good. Particularly,
I love the first Grudge.
I like the Japanese Grudge a lot more, actually. But we've talked about that on the show before.
Now the debate.
Okay. We should also debate The Ring then, too, as well.
That's fair.
That is fair.
But also, I'd like to say this actually has a pretty good cast in this film as well, from Joel David Moore, who me and Morgan definitely recognize. No, funny enough, I knew him from this before I even saw Avatar, so...
I do know. I love Joel in Avatar. Like, he is actually a great actor.
No, he is. He is.
You know,
if you haven't seen Grandma's Boy, please, God, please, I'm begging you guys, if you haven't seen Grandma's Boy, please watch it. He is the fucking best in that movie. If anybody that is watching this has seen Grandma's Boy, please tell these two that they need to see Grandma's Boy so they can see what Joel David Moore does in that movie.
I also want to say
so fucking funny.
Joel David.
Oh my god.
Joel David Moore was also in Dodgeball, which I fucking loved Dodgeball growing up.
Oh yeah, no, the dude is great. And actually it surprised me the first time I watched it because I've seen him in stuff, but I've never seen him as like a leading man. Mm-hmm. And he's always been like a fucking goofball, like I'm saying, in Grandma's Boy and in fucking Dodgeball. So it was very weird and surprising to see him do this because I mean he's good.
Yeah, he is.
He's good in this movie.
He's my like Joel's character is actually Ben is my favorite character out of all of them. Yeah. I think Ben is the one I can just kind of connect with the most. Not necessarily like there are other ones who make me laugh more than Ben does, but as like the characters and like the almost like the full bodiedness we get of a character, we get the most out of Ben. So I definitely like him the most because there is more meat and potatoes to this character, I think, than others. But and just to go like again, like I think that just also goes to show like this is now considered to be horror, and Joel did a fantastic job in the role he was given. You know, and
everybody does.
Yeah, everybody does, even the crazy porno chicks.
No, seriously, the cast in this movie deserve a lot of credit. There's a few unknowns: Perry Shaw, Mercedes McNabb, Amara Zaragoza. Which, if we ever do the sequels, we can do a whole thing on that. Joel David Moore has obviously been in some stuff. Dion Richmond, I've seen in a bunch of stuff. And then you get the horror legends. Kane Hodder, as we already mentioned. Robert Englund is in this. Tony Todd is in this. John Carl Buechler is in here. Yeah, it is Buechler. John Carl Buechler is in here. Adam Green has a little cameo. Like it's a stacked cast. And I really like movies like this that do that because they are love letters to the horror genre first and foremost. That's how you get these veterans to come in and be in these movies. And it's awesome. I always love seeing them pop up in these types of
Even if the roles are pretty damn small, because let's be real, Robert Englund and Tony Todd only both have one scene, but they haven't. Apparently, this movie had enough gases to get him in for that one scene. But no worries, Tony Todd does make a return in the sequel, and he has a lot more to do.
You know who doesn't? Robert Englund. But Robert Englund loves to play a redneck. Like, seriously, it's
freaking Joel Murray, the brother of Bill Murray, being in this film.
Who'd have fucking thought, right?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
How do you even get that to happen?
I don't even know. And
I do want to say this is a slight like divergence from what we're talking about, but like thinking about these roles and everything, like a lot of these roles are chock filled with like annoying horror tropes, but
True.
Somehow it works in a way where I'm not annoyed by them in this film, and that's probably just because they actually make me laugh.
I think it's maybe a case of the movie just truly knowing what it is and just going for it.
Sure.
And us, the audience, accepting like, yeah, we know what we're here for. Almost like a quote unquote parody of itself in a way, but not. It's kind of hard to explain.
It's simultaneously an original thing, but also like a deconstruction of like the horror shit that you've seen before. Yeah. Like you've seen this movie before. 100%. This is almost like if you would have told me that this was a Friday the 13th movie or something like that, like I would buy it because it basically is. Mm-hmm. There's a couple little tweaks here and there that make it different, but fundamentally it's a fucking Friday the 13th movie.
I was laughing to myself because I was thinking earlier that like that whole alligator scene is why we ended up getting the alligator horror film not too long ago.
Crawl,
thank you. I was just blinking on the name. Which Crawl was surprisingly good.
Yeah, I like Crawl.
Watch Lake Placid.
But hey, I got to return because Ben is your favorite character, Morgan. Of course, my favorite character is motherfucking Marcus, bro.
Oh, he has the best lines.
Absolutely.
No, Marcus has the best. Marcus is the comedy relief of this film.
And it works. It so works. I mean, yes. A lot of people are funny in this movie. Some are funny for the wrong reasons, like Robert Englund. Like we said earlier, this movie would get canceled nowadays. Mm-hmm. But I grew up in a time where some of the stuff he says was the norm.
It was
legal. Yeah. I hear that stuff. I'm like, I acknowledge it's not exactly right, but my God, it's funny. Yeah. The quote Cell from TFS. Oh, I feel kind of bad, but it's still funny.
Yeah. Hey, look, that's the thing is that, look, we made it. It is what it is. It was a different time. Just take it for what it is. Know that going ahead. And you should have a good time with this movie. Should.
But Marcus, best lines, funniest stuff. Sean is probably my second favorite character in this movie, just because, I mean, yes, it is his fault, but is it strange to say I never was mad at him for everything happening, actually? I mean, you can be, but still. I was like, oh, Sean, give man a chance. Give man another chance.
Oh, the Asian dude?
Yeah.
yeah. That is probably the second best character, honestly.
He's the second funniest character, definitely, but some of the shit Marcus says in this film is just so damn fun. He has a joke, he has a line regarding what Victor Crowley looks like that to this day makes me fall out of my chair laughing, which you guys heard me fucking crying, dying at, actually.
And I don't know, you kept muting yourself at weird intervals, so I might have missed it. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, well, unfortunately, I had to deal with something else, but okay.
I'm sure you did.
I did. You saw on camera what happened.
Is that what we're calling it now? Dealing with it?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't deal with it. I just dealt with it.
Yeah.
But I will. But hold on, before I can stop though. While Marcus is my favorite character, in my opinion, I think it for me the best character. I'm not even sure if this is because the sequels did more with this, but Mary Beth, actually, in my opinion, is the actual best character in this movie.
This is my favorite Mary Beth. This is my favorite iteration of character out of the 3 movies because I haven't seen 4.
I do like her. I do like the character we get for her.
She's resourceful and she knows, she knows what's going on. I do like that the movie goes out of its way to give the characters an out. It's constantly giving characters an out, but they keep making the stupid decision to keep getting more and more into the mess. You know what I mean? So I do like that they do that instead of it just being they're just going to make a dumb decision. It gives them the option to make the dumb decision.
Mm-hmm.
They still make it, but they had the option. I like that touch. Nice little touch.
Now, fun fact, Morgan, do you actually care if we talk about anything within the sequels actually a little bit?
I do.
Okay, then I'll leave it alone though, because you say you like this Mary Beth, but I still like the Mary Beth we get in 2 and 3 actually as well, particularly due to the fact of who the actress is.
See, and that's my issue. But
who is
if we ever cover 2, we'll talk about it.
I'll just say now, Morgan, the actress is Danielle Harris, who is another horror veteran, actually.
Yeah.
Actually, when it comes to female horror veterans, is my personal favorite, actually.
I would agree. Jamie Lee Curtis.
Fair enough, but I love Danielle Harris. She's so cool.
That is a close fucking second for me. Then probably Scout Taylor Thompson.
Okay, I know who Danielle is.
You know what? Danielle Harris and Neve Campbell are my 2 favorites, but I'm kind of leaning towards Danielle.
Oh yeah, Neve Campbell. Fuck, never mind. Let me put her up there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this movie's got a pretty straightforward plot. And actually, I'm looking at it right now. A group of tourists go on a haunted swamp ride in New Orleans. They get stranded, and they happen to get stranded next to the spooky spot. The spoopy spot, I'll call it. It's Victor Crowley's home, and it's said that if you're close to it, you can hear him calling out for his daddy, which does happen. And pretty much that means you're gonna die. And I mean, what else do you need? That's the whole premise, and then the rest of it is these characters trying to stay alive to hilarious fashion.
I think one of my little favorite things about this is the character Sean pretending to do the daddy call, which I find hilarious. And then later you actually hear it's like, oh wait, hold on a second.
I love that his accent changes 4 different times.
Yes.
Agreed.
And then you find out he's from Detroit. And I was like, yes!
Just move out here from Detroit, just trying to make some dough.
Yeah, that's it. And he fucked up. But I made a comment to Morgan about how I love him more in the sequels, and she's like, oh, he survives? No, he doesn't. You got to watch the next one to know what I'm talking about.
I was thinking the same thing, like, oh, I ain't gonna say nothing.
Yep. So that's fun.
Yeah, when he died, I was like, well, how the fuck is he in the sequels?
Yeah,
is it just flashbacks?
You're just gonna have to watch, because
or is it his ghost?
Pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It is fun. But yeah, that's the premise, and the rest of it is just watching Victor Crowley off these guys in different brutal ways. And
oh yeah, it's good.
And the effects are really where it's at. I really can't talk about the plot much because that's it. That's it.
It's very simple, but I will say the practical effects they use in this film are top tier.
Phenomenal.
They did a very good job.
Oh my god! Like, I forgot how brutal this movie was, and then there's a husband and wife character. This movie's been out since 2007. Fuck you guys. And then there's a husband and wife character, and they both get killed basically at the same time. But what he does to the wife, oh my god!
Ripping her jaw open and her head, like, that was wild. That looks so freaking good.
Gave her the reverse bear trap.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, that looks so freaking good for practical effects.
Yeah, man.
No digital at all.
By the way, this movie's only an hour and like 20-something minutes. It's very short,
but
it felt long. I'm not gonna lie, because there's a lot of exposition getting us there.
Yeah.
And then there's like a couple kills, and then there's a lull, and then it picks back up.
Mm-hmm.
That lull, I don't like that lull. I hate that part.
I don't disagree. It would have been better for it being more of a slasher film. It would have been better for it to keep going and to ramp up the pace.
Honestly, it was probably put in there just to pad out the runtime. If honestly,
Probably.
but I would like this. I do like the movie, but I would like it more if we took that out and he just kept offing people. Just keep it going.
Yeah,
I'm actually okay with it because it gave us time to kind of have fun with the characters in the film. Because again, this movie is a comedy, and I am having fun with these characters actually, even if they're just basic one note. But they do it so well. Actually,
They do. I do like all of these characters. Honestly,
Yeah.
their banter is fucking hilarious.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Even if it's slow, because even I notice nowadays, like, it's actually a minute. Hang on, I dropped something by accident. It's been a minute since we saw a kill since like the very beginning of the film, but I'm like okay with it. So it's like, this movie is just funny. This is a comedy.
What? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I just was gonna say I do like how we come out of one of the lulls because there's like a rustling in the bush, and they're trying to decide who's gonna go check out what's going on in the bush, and it is Marcus that goes and does it, and he's hilarious the whole time. And it turns out to be a little baby raccoon, and then when they pan back, Crowley is standing behind him, and then he offs somebody with a belt sander. It's fucking sweet.
Yeah, and a shovel.
And a shovel.
Did it with both. I also like during this lull where they actually discovered the truth behind Joel Murray's character, which I find actually find really funny.
Oh yeah, he's got the 2 business cards.
Exactly. Like, what the hell?
It is good.
It's hilarious. It's just hilarious. Also, I have to say too, because there's a one character in this film who, in other horror films, I probably would despise, which is the character Misty. But because how this movie is, I'm okay with her.
I feel like she lasted as long as she does. Yep. And I enjoy her being on screen. Like even her like she says it as the ditzy blonde, right? But like she's got some scathing attacks in there. It's like, God damn, where the fuck that come from? Mm-hmm. She's oddly resourceful too, until she's not.
Yeah. But again, where this movie completely shines is the gore effects. Like, it's so good.
100%.
Out of curiosity, what's your guys' favorite kill?
I'll tell you which one is my least favorite.
Oh.
It's Marcus.
Marcus
is my least favorite. It's the least creative.
I agree with that.
It is the least creative. It's not as brutal as the other ones, and it's kind of contrived how they got him too, It's like I hate to say it, but it's literally just like it feels to me just because like the black dude's supposed to die.
I think my favorite honestly has got to be Granny, just because like I think that's where they really show off like, here's our special effects and this is what we're going with. Like they made a statement with the way they killed her, and I liked it.
I loved Shapiro's kill actually, where he runs into him by accident and just gets his head just twisted all the way around so it like falls off and just hanging on by some skin. That was always my favorite, particularly because it's the most quiet, if that makes sense. He just runs into no music, just got you, and just goes for it.
Yeah, I shouldn't have looked at the runtime because I do remember it being longer, but I think it still felt long. But once I saw the runtime, I was like, okay, like shit's gonna happen real quick, and it does. My favorite is that Granny that gets the head?
Yep.
Yeah, that is probably my favorite too, honestly.
I don't know if I have a least favorite kill. I think my least favorite kill might just go to Misty because we didn't actually see it. But I do like that her head and torso got thrown at Ben.
Oh, that off-screen shit. But that is a funny way to show that she died.
Yeah.
He just fucking pelts him with body parts. That was good. Yeah.
But not too much really to say a whole lot about the film, honestly. It's simple. It's fun. It's entertaining. It's dumb.
It's a short movie. It's a short movie.
It is a short movie.
It's short. It gets right to the point. We know what we're here for. I'm not going to cut you off again. I apologize.
What were you talking to? Me or her?
You.
Oh, no, you're good. No, you have a point there. Yeah, it's short. Out of curiosity, because Luke, you have seen most of the sequels, correct? 3 of them, not 3. Because me and you both have not seen the 4th, actually.
Yeah, I can't find the 4th one.
Oh, okay. Without actually getting too much into it, how did you feel about the sequels?
They're fine. I would probably put them all around the same level. The only things that bug me are like the casting thing. And the fact that the lore doesn't always make sense, but I mean, we start with this very bare bones story anyway that I've kind of heard before because he's a knockoff Jason. And then they do try and expand in the other ones, and I would say that I do like where they take it into. I don't know, 3. I gotta watch it again, but I don't hate them. They're fine. They're fine.
Okay. I would say I remember I saw 3 and I was like, it's okay. Not like the first one. Hatchet 2 is probably the one I'm like, I still like this film, but I don't think it's as good as the first. It's still funny in places, not as funny as the first, because I mean, I'm gonna be real with you. Without Marcus, these films aren't as funny.
Well, they do bring back somebody else, though.
Yes, that is true.
I'm not gonna get into to spoil it for Morgan.
Also, I hope not spoil, but I don't like him as much. Still,
not fair. Still from Detroit, though, baby. Morgan.
Yes.
How do you feel about this movie? You can't say anything about the sequels yet, but you know.
The sequels are awful. No, I'm kidding.
You're the newbie here.
No, so it's just one of those things. It's like you guys been saying, like you kind of go into this and you immediately get to learn what this film is. You're like, right off the rip, you're like, oh, okay, this is the type of horror film this is gonna be. You don't need to take it super seriously. Just sit back, have a good time, have some laughs. Like, with that being said, the special effects were better than I thought they were going to be for the vibe the film quickly gave off. It was a good time. Like like I told you when we were getting into this, like I'm not gonna have a very long movie review for this because there's not a lot I can hate on, but there's not a lot that I can be like, oh my god, I absolutely love this. Just because sadly I am watching a 2006 film for the first time in 2024, so it does have its issues, but it also, like in general, like for being a 2006 film, still holds up pretty well, especially for the effects.
It's some effects.
It is cheesy, but you know that's looking at it from the lens of 2024. It is funny in ways that maybe certain things we shouldn't be laughing to in terms of how it would get canceled nowadays, but at the same time it was funny, and that was the humor of back then. And you know, I had a fun time with it. You know, it's not an amazing film, but it was a good time.
I mean, there's stuff that I can hate on, particularly, I mean, especially watching it now. Like, the dialogue is pretty fucked up in the 2024 lens. This really doesn't have much to offer besides the gore. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Everybody is doing a good performance, but there really isn't much of a plot. It's pretty standard. Like I said, that's a knockoff Jason Voorhees thing.
It's like, okay, survive. That's the
exactly. Exactly. Nobody really gets much else to do. There isn't, like, arcs, I would say, or anything like that. It's just these characters are here for a body count. And especially in this franchise, like the ending pretty much makes you think nobody lives. Okay, obviously there's sequels. You'll get more into that. I don't want to spoil, but people do survive. But like Victor Crowley is positioned to be just an unstoppable killing force. Which, if I do remember now, watching the sequels, kind of annoyed me because the thing about Jason is like Jason can be beat, right? Mm-hmm. Jason can be beat. He gets brought back through some contrived shit in his movies, but he can be put down. Victor Crowley, as far as I know, cannot be put down. It gets kind of annoying because I already know what's going to happen. And for me, I want a little more. And by the time I got the sequel 2, movie 3, I want more than just to sit here and watch fucking Victor Crowley just off people. Give me a little something. They try. They do try, from what I remember, but I don't think it's not anything to write home about. So to me, that gets a little stale. Terrifier is doing it now, but the thing about Terrifier is like they keep shocking you more and more and more. Maybe the plot's okay. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet, but that's kind of following the same vein. To me, that gets just a little boring. I love gore in my horror movies too, and I do watch to see the villain fuck people up, but it gets to a point where it's like, all right, can like somebody have a fucking chance? Can you just make it interesting? No, I just know everybody's going to die. All right, fuck.
So I will say, regarding the how if Victor Crowley is unbeatable, I have 2 things to say about that. One, I guess I don't get too mad at that because of how they explain what kind of ghost Victor is. He's a repeater, which is something that I think I've even heard in Ghost Adventures before too. The idea of like, you just stuck in the night you died, so you're just kind of stuck in this cycle of like always being violent. Well, you have the ability to be violent and tear people apart and stuff like that. But you quote unquote beat him, but the next night, or he'll just probably end up coming back because what kind of ghost you are actually. I think something even similar might have been said in the movie 13 Ghosts, throwback. I love that movie as well, even though the ending's weird. Yeah.
Hidden gem.
Hey, 13 Ghosts. What was I going to say? Regarding the sequels and other ways they try to beat Victor, I think my issue came with how 2 had one way, but then 3 had a completely different way.
Yeah.
And one of them seemed like it would work. I guess clearly it didn't.
Right.
So it was like, okay, yeah, the unbeatable aspect, I get where you're coming from, because even I'm like, so are you guys gonna go with an official he can be beat or not, actually? Because one of them seems like it could have worked, but maybe not. One of them, there was a specific reason why it didn't, which I was like, okay, I'm actually okay with that, because I guess a little plot twist or whatever.
Right. But
and also going back to Terrifier, because even I was thinking about Terrifier, how nowadays supernatural horror films definitely have taken over the market in a lot of ways, actually. In Terrifier, I suppose, I don't know if I would say it's a throwback to classical slashers. It's not. It feels like a modern slasher in a way, with just very intense shock value. But definitely, for me, the difference between Terrifier and Hatchet is I actually like the plot of Hatchet more, even in the sequels.
Fair. The last thing I want to say about it, particularly in this instance of Terrifier 2, is it just goes to show like how savage we are, like as a species. The fact that we're so starved just to see people get ripped apart. Like that's it. Like I don't know if it's like some primal thing that's in us as humans, but there's no reason like a Hatchet and a Terrifier should be as successful as Hatchet was or Terrifier is now. Because that's the only reason we go to see these movies, is just to watch Art the Clown and Victor Crowley fuck people up. That's it. Fuck the plot. Cool, but it really doesn't matter. I just want to see the fucking killer clown and the deformed dude cut people in half.
What's funny is I actually don't like some of the Terrifier stuff, particularly the Terrifier 2, because I genuinely don't like the plot. Like, yes, the gore is fun and stuff like that, and I do have I have a love for all the special effects and stuff like that. But the plot itself, I'm like, what?
See, and
Hatchet, I'm not gonna act. Oh, hang on a second. I'm not gonna act like Hatchet has some kind of amazing plot, but there's something more to it, I guess, that feels like a clearer idea, I suppose. Because Terrifier 1 doesn't have a plot, and I like that. Surprisingly, I actually like that. Okay, no plot. I mean, sure, the dialogue is really bad and stuff like that, and we're just watching the clown kill people. But I think the reason I like Terrifier 1 more is because what they decided to do for a plot in 2, I was not a fan of.
Well, I think much like this movie right here, and not to turn this into a Terrifier thing, but I do think much like this first Hatchet movie and the first Terrifier movie, is they're just pretty bare bones. We don't all know what to expect, and we watch it, and it's like, oh, that was actually pretty cool. And then it's like, so are you going to do another one, right? And the directors were like, I guess.
Well,
and now here we are in their fucking franchises. But yeah. You guys want to score it?
Yeah, let's score it.
Unless you got something else, Morgan.
No, I'm good.
We gotta get your references and your horror knowledge just a little.
So we're working. See, that's the thing. That's what we're doing. We're working on it.
We are. We're putting in the work. Putting in that work, baby.
See, we already knew we fucked up when Jamie Lee Curtis heard was best known for Freaky Friday.
Dude!
I'm just messing. But next time when we bring up a horror legend, actually. Next time we bring up a horror legend, she's gonna remember for an actual horror movie.
Here it is. Yeah, that was a fun moment.
I love it's just fun. It's so
that's
funny.
Top 10 moment on this show for sure. Another one would be the time that Morgan was ranting and her mic wasn't on. Remember that shit?
Her mic wasn't on for the rap music part either.
I didn't say it. Don't do it.
Hey, hold on. I'm gonna give you some shit, Luke, too. Remember our entire show of Evil Dead Rise?
I'm gonna give you my score now. And this movie is a solid 7 for me. And it's just strictly off of entertainment value.
Okay.
I love the characters. I love the gore. The plot's just good enough. It's a throwback. I loved it more in 2007 because I was one of those ravenous fans that just wanted something that was different. And I got it. Now, this is just pure, fun. That's it. 7.
Morgan, next, you go next.
I'm a 6.
Mm.
So, and I think that's partially coming from being the one here who hasn't seen it at all before 2004. You know, it was what?
Came out in 2007.
Yeah,
6,
but I'm saying like I haven't seen it before this year.
Gotcha. You said 2004 though.
I meant 2024. Sorry.
Gotcha.
My apologies.
No
So,
worries.
yeah, I think I'm a 6 because firstly, I haven't seen this until now. I'm seeing this so many years later, so many, and but it's nice to see that like though it is funny, not always for the right reasons, because that humor would be canceled now. Oh, would it be so
Simply
canceled?
times, man.
And the very unnecessary titties that are shown a lot.
So many titties.
So many titties. We get titties within the first like 30 seconds.
Seriously.
Okay, it was Mardi Gras, to be fair.
Sure. But anyway, what I'm getting at is this is an enjoyable film if you want to sit back for a like a throwback, a classic kind of horror film, and you know what you're getting into. That's just kind of where I'm at with it. Like it is funny. The special effects are surprisingly good, but it's really simple. So you just right off the rip what you're getting into. So yeah, 6 for me.
All right. That was something I wanted to bring up earlier, the fact that there's so many titties, but I was like, you know what, I'm okay with it because it was Mardi Gras, so I guess there's a quote-unquote reason for there to be so much.
I mean, sure, there are a lot of titties out down in Mardi Gras, to be fair.
That is just a lot of nasty stuff going down in Mardi Gras. I've seen Mardi Gras Twitter.
Yeah, Mardi Gras be wild. But anyway, what is your rating, Dreaded?
Oh, 8 out of 10. I've got nostalgia for this film. I was young when I first saw it. Me and my dad first watched it. It's hilarious. I mean, you keep saying for the wrong reason. True, but regardless, even in modern day, I'm gonna find that stuff funny. Like I'm always gonna, because my sense of humor is fucked up. It really is. It can be. The gore is great. The characters are funny. Likeable is yes and no, if that makes sense, but likable enough that they're entertaining and stuff like that. Victor Crowley is a cool killer. Fun fact, actually, too. This is how much of a freaking horror nerd I am, because my dad is also a huge horror person as well. This dude, oh wait, I forgot the actual story was. I'll tell that story another day then, because I actually can't remember all the details of it. But this film's an 8 out of 10 for me. This film is just so enjoyable for me.
Yes, 100%.
So yeah, that's Hatchet.
That is Hatchet.
You guys ever want to have a good time, see some titties, laugh a bunch of some stupid people, and see some good ass gore? Put on Hatchet.
And that's sober. Like, light up a little bit, get some people around with some beers and some food. Like, oh, perfect. That would probably should make this movie a 10 out of 10.
Oh man. Anyway, well, I guess that's our show tonight, y'all.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, not that that's a bad thing, but like, hey, that's a short and sweet, good movie.
Yeah, it's a fun time.
Yeah.
All right. Well, everybody, we're the Wannabes Podcast. I'm Morgan. That's Luke, and that's Dreaded, and we are your hosts. Thank you.
I am over there.
Yeah, you're over here. But thank you so much for joining us. As always, your support means the world to us, and we love having you on the show with us in chat, messaging, and even if you're lurking, just thank you. Again, thank you so much. If you want to know what we're going to be reviewing next, please tune into our socials. Check out our social medias. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Podcast Wanna. You can search up Wannabes Podcast. We'll show up that way too. That way you know what we're reviewing next, and if there's any adjustments to the show. If it's just that's where we inform you guys. So go follow us if you're not already.
Next?
Next on our list is Tarot, which is the film that released this year on Netflix.
Oh yeah, the PG-13 horror. All right, no, I'm okay. I'm looking forward to this because I'm gonna shit all over this movie. All right,
let's see how it goes.
And we're getting into supernatural stuff, which is my ballpark.
It's all right. Ned from Spider-Man's in it. It's fine.
Yeah, but yeah. So next week we will be watching Tarot. So if you want to hop on over to your Netflix account and watch Tarot, so you can watch it and know everything we're talking about along with us and talk about it with us, please do so. But don't forget to head over to our YouTube page. Give us a subscription. We are live on YouTube. We're live on Twitch and YouTube now. But if you subscribe to us on Twitch, if you haven't already, it does help unlock emotes for us. So we can actually start getting emotes in for the people who view over there. And as usual, we're uploading our Wannabes archives, and we're also getting our shows up on Spotify. So make sure you look us up on Spotify and listen to us on the go as well. But once again, everybody, thank you so much. We hope you have a wonderful spooky season. And next time, don't forget the popcorn. Peace out. Bye.
The blood-soaked swamp tasting popcorn.